Hello, so welcome to this video for COMP3218, Game Design and Development at the University of Southampton. My name's Dave Millard, I'm one of the lecturers on the course, and I'm here with...
Ioan Daniel Malinov, a research fellow helping with the course.
So we've got a couple of games to look at in today's video. Johan, do you want to say a little bit about what we asked the students to do?
Yeah, of course. So basically we asked them to make a story game based on one of three fables that we gave them. And it needed to have a number of different endings in a story engine, which basically means that the game world would affect the story in some way and vice versa.
Well, let's get on and have a look at our first game. So our first game is called the Terrible Triathlon. Okay, so here we go. A wall of text. Not the best way to start, but I think if you're pressed for time, maybe that's what you have to do. So the tortoise has chosen to challenge you once again to a race. We've got 3 days to prepare for a brand new triathlon, a race of running, your speciality, cycling and swimming, the tortoise's home turf. In order to prepare, tortoises famously known for their cycling. In order to prepare, you have chosen to come to the local village and use the resources available from the people there in order to train your body for the upcoming challenges. Talk to the villagers, train your stats, and prepare for the race ahead. Be warned, your hubris and your self-confidence may once again be your downfall, and the coward's way out is never a true ending. Okay, a little bit of a setup at the beginning. Here we go. So day one, morning. A sort of sad-looking bunny. Is that my sad-looking bunny portrait in the top left-hand corner? It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
he's a sad bunny. So we've got day one, morning, and we've got player stats: strength, speed, perception, endurance, and hunger. Instructions on what to do. I'm just clicking around the screen, so that doesn't do anything. So that's A and D, spin me around, and I go forward and backwards. Ooh, that's quite weird, because, yeah, all right. All right, there we go. So I've got these market stalls, which I'm guessing I should go to. So he looks like a sort of cross between the Easter Bunny and a Dalek, doesn't he?
Now that you mentioned it, yeah.
Right, anyway. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stalls in this very austere courtyard that I found myself in. I presume I should go to one of them, but they all look the same? Are they all identical?
There are 5 stats and 6 stalls, maybe.
Good thought, yeah. Let's go to this one. Let's see what this does. Oh. Must improve yourself, Mr. Hare. Those muscles won't get you anywhere now. So scrolling is a little bit slow, but if I click, does it... Oh, it completes if you click.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Okay.
Let us begin, Mr. Hare. No more delays. Improving your strength is imperative. Improve strength and time advances. Or I can just leave. So I go over here.
I see. So that's probably speed.
Oh, what does that say? Hey there, stranger. Don't let the hunger claim you. Care for some tasty homegrown goods?
Okay, that's hunger. Okay.
Good to see a fellow runner out here. So it's a shame that there's no indication of what these are.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's speed. So we've got
strength.
Oh yeah, because yes, there's actually 5, isn't there? There's 5 and so what's the other?
Yeah,
we've had strength, speed, hunger. Carrots. Improve your vision. That's interesting. So visions
probably.
Visions, yeah, not one of our stats, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, perception. Yeah. It did say perception.
The triathlon or the sprint race, you'll need more stamina. So that's got to be
endurance.
Okay. What do you think this last one is? Is this last one cheat? Race her. Oh, I can certainly help. For the right price. Drain the race's water. Day ends.
Oh, I see.
Drain the race's water. Oh, so you don't have to swim, you'll be running.
Yeah, so the tortoise doesn't have an advantage there.
Okay, so what do you think we should do?
I mean, you seem hungry. Or
Which one was
is
hungry?
zero hunger a lot or none?
It's how hungry you are, and zero means I'm fine. Or whether I need to be positive and I'm currently neutral, or what really.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go over here and do strength. So strength 4, hunger 0.1. So do you think we're getting
Ah,
hungry? Perhaps that's how hungry we
yeah,
are.
I
So
see. Okay.
so
And
if I
strength went from 3 to 4, I think.
so I haven't got any money, so all I'm spending is time.
Yeah, time is money, I guess.
Changing
Okay.
effect, evening.
Yeah, yeah.
Perception, endurance seems quite important. Was that endurance done? Stay here and train with
That
me. Just
was.
feels what do you say?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's.
we do. Day 2,
Now we're
getting
day.
hungry. So I'm going to bring my endurance up again, I think. So the problem with this is I don't really know why I'm doing this, and I'm not getting any feedback. Bring perception up a bit as well. It's been kind of evenly spread.
Yeah. Did it say how long it was or how many days until the.
3 days, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The
With
day
3
3
days
morning. So
preparation. Yeah.
I think the last thing I need to do is eat. So I better do that.
Yeah.
Seek a strength challenge today. Improve strength. Should we do? Let's do. I'm getting quite hungry. I'm a bit worried it's going to do something. I'm going to eat now.
Yeah. Free of charge. Wow.
Okay, and then do endurance. Dedication
Now
to winning race allowed to triumph over the tortoise. Live happily and enjoy your winnings. Oh, okay. So it gives me the
I
tortoise
chose the.
stats. The tortoise stats doesn't look. So the
Oh, the
tortoise.
third.
So I beat the
Yeah.
tortoise in the running race. I beat him in the cycling
Basic.
race.
Barely. Yeah.
I beat him in the swimming race. And I beat him all the way. Okay, and that's it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting one, I think. So we're about to go in and look at all the criteria and stuff, and I'll reload the game so we can see it again. But I am a bit worried. I'm worried that there's very little game element and very little narrative element to go on. But let's see how we do. Okay. So I'm going to restart this, and then we can start going through the criteria. So first up, I guess, is presentation.
Presentation. Yeah. Graphics, audio, information design.
So
And
straight away, there's no audio at all. Graphics. I mean, this screen looks fine. I don't really have. I mean, there's not an awful lot to depict, right? It's literally just making, and there's no reason for this either. Right? This could just be a menu screen, really.
yeah.
I mean, I could just be clicking on these, but I've got the little portrait of Sad Bunny in the corner. It'd be nice if it responded to what I was doing in some way. So I think the graphics are sort of okay.
Yeah.
The information design though, I mean, I've got the stats up here and the day 1 and morning. It's all quite blandly shown, but I've got no way of knowing which of these is which without talking to them.
Yeah. I think that's.
And no one is.
Major.
Maybe I mean I think they needed to have a bit more. There could have been a little bit more conversation or banter with the store holders, perhaps to learn about what the different things affected.
Yeah. That's.
So I think again, information design is I mean, what would a pass be? Let's think about that.
So it's flawed, which is simplistic, or many inconsistent elements.
Yeah, and what would a poor be?
simplistic and poorly chosen elements. That's
They're basic. They don't feel poorly chosen. The graphics
yeah.
sort of feel okay. So I think presentation is probably, yeah, it's either. Do you think it's got to the pass level? Cheat. See what happens.
Oh yes, look, yeah. So
Actually, let's
well,
try. Let's try just doing one thing. Let's just do.
so I'm thinking about it. Either a pass or maybe between a poor and a pass.
Let's say maybe between. I think there's so little presentation that we would have to say somewhere between the two.
Yeah. And what about the mechanics, controls, and bugs?
There's very little.
First off, I haven't seen any bugs, but the game, yeah, is simpler from what I can
Very
see.
simple. There's almost no mechanics. They've added a selection mechanism where you walk to the store, and I can walk around. I can activate a store and I can click a button, and unfortunately that's it. So it really is very bare bones for mechanics. I mean, it is usable. Um, so I'm just building up my strength. I'm gonna be like Super Bunny. See what happens.
So
So yeah, what would
a poor
yeah, go on.
a poor would be insufficient mechanics, difficult controls, may have critical bugs, and
Think that we're at the insufficient mechanics level.
yeah.
Yeah, I think probably.
What did you?
Despite all you may have tried or not have tried, history is doomed to repeat itself. Thinking your win guaranteed, you chose to take a nap under the nearest tree, wake up sometime later to find yourself the loser of this race. Once again, your history has repeated itself when you return a loser. But it doesn't give me the stats, right? It just has this event, so I don't really know
Oh,
why
that's interesting.
it did that. I was rather hoping it would say, you were great on the cycling, but shame about all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Um, so that was presentation and mechanics. So
Yeah.
yeah, a shame because I don't think they've done anything too horribly wrong, but there's so little here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then we get on to the story engine, right?
Yeah.
So here we're looking for game to story. Well, let's try this and see what this happens. So if I cheat here, yeah, A ends. Let's try and just bring up these things. So I've cheated, and I'm going to try and
Yeah. Do different.
just because I like carrots.
Are you going to eat in the end for the race?
00001. Your hunger growing. I just ate, didn't I? So if you go run, meal. By the time you return to your senses, race is over, and the winner has been crowned. I ate at the end.
Here in their notes about how the game world impacts the narrative. So the game world has direct feedback into the endings it is possible to receive, which, yeah, we've noticed that. By playing the game normally, you can achieve 3 of 6 possible ending types. So these endings are considered normal endings, where the game functions normally and the hare races the tortoise. Okay. In the other possible endings, the hare can either cheat their way to a victory or loss by interacting with the shady character, or they can fall victim to traps and tricks along the way if they neglect to raise their stats. Are those the endings that we just experienced, the last two ones?
I've just reset my hunger to 0 now to see if that helps. Let's see what happens now. Look.
Yeah.
So I've chosen to cheat, but I've also raised my stats and I've dealt with my hunger. There we go.
Ah, interesting.
But I cheated. I drained the. And there's no reference to that.
So running you're
Strange.
faster, cycling you're faster.
If we think about the story engine, we're looking at how the game world impacts the story and how the story impacts the game world. So here's the problem: I don't make any decisions
Oh yeah,
in the narrative world really. If you were being super generous, you would say that there is a narrative-ish decision that you make by choosing to drain the swamp or drain the river. Sorry, so not the swamp, drain the river, so that you can run all the way. That doesn't appear to have any impact though. It didn't do anything. Um,
yeah, that's
the
strange.
the decisions you make in the game world are around the things that you put up, which does have an effect on the story, but it's very indirect, right? So if we think about game world to story, that's probably the one that's more complex here. So I can visit the different stalls, raise my stats, that impacts the story. So what would a pass be for game world to story?
Paths would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world impacts the story.
So I think we've got one example. I know I'm fiddling with the stats, but I think the whole thing is one. It's one
Yeah,
choice, right? I'm making a choice in the game world about where my stats are going to be, and then it impacts the story once.
yeah.
Um, so I think we've got
Uh,
one example. So what would a poor be?
yeah, there would be some support for story elements in the game, but the game world has no real impact on the story.
So I
Well,
think it does have that one impact. So maybe
yeah,
halfway between a poor and a pass.
yeah,
But for story to game world, even if we take the choice of yes, I'm going to cheat, and we say, okay, although you do that in the same mechanism, really that's a narrative decision. And then how does that influence the game world, right? There is no influence on the game world, right? The game world never changes. It influences the narrative endpoint, right?
yeah.
Though we haven't really seen it do that. But the game doesn't change at all. So none of the storeholders, I suppose they're referencing. I think we did one reference that we went to somebody else first, maybe. Very limited. Maybe a very limited reference. Let's try that. So if I restart this, uh, if I so I'm pretty sure that when I went here, it said don't go next door. Ah, I saw you with the man next door. I don't trust him. Stay here and train with me. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart and I'm going to go to that one first and see if it references it.
It's supposed to be in their game notes. They do say interacting with a specific shady NPC changes how other characters talk to and perceive
Yeah.
the player.
There we go. Yeah, so that's worked. Look, so they didn't mention it. So I think in terms of game world to story, that's the only example, right? Um, so again,
Or story to game world. Or
no, this is game world to story. Sorry, game world to. Oh no, you're right. Sorry, this is another example of game world to story, isn't it? Yeah, this is another example. So I can go around and figure the stats, or and that will change the end, and then
yeah. Ah,
who I talk to will I get different text depending on who I visited. So that means there's two examples, right? I still don't think that's enough to raise the marks up any further than we had them already, though, right?
yeah.
Pretty minimal. And then in terms of the other way round, the game world is not changing at all based on the story. There's no reference. So uh, even if you had something like I had to pay for these and the price went up if I went somewhere else first or something, right? That would be an example. Or maybe if I choose to cheat. somebody sees me and then they charge me more, or some way that the game world responds to what the story is doing. But I think there is literally zero interaction between the story and the game world, right?
The game.
So
So
the game world
in
is
this
this.
case,
In this case, the game world is this courtyard and me moving around, interacting with the different people. And no matter what I do and what decisions I make, that will never change. Right? So
yeah,
I think this is an absent basically. That's a completely absent. Um, so that takes us on. Um,
the
start,
richness of choice,
yeah, sort of
agency.
agency. So so what do you think about the richness of our choices? So we're looking for choices which are not just transactional, but have some kind of um, what do we sort of
Interesting.
introspection, like a sort of a grey choice where it's not clear what's right or wrong.
Well, yeah,
Um,
from what I see, there are the calculation types of choices, with the stats literally,
yeah.
but there's also the shady NPC, which doesn't tell you, or that's more of a non-calculating one because it doesn't raise your stats or something, but it does something.
Yeah, I think if you eat at the end of the day, it doesn't have an effect. Are you informed? Do you think you're making sensible choices?
That's, um, I mean, what does it say exactly when you go to the shady?
Go down here. It says, "Erase her." Oh, I can certainly help for the right price. And I say, I'll come back tomorrow or drain the race's water when the day ends. So I haven't done that. So I
Can
click,
you,
I'll come back tomorrow.
yeah, try to do it on day 2. Maybe it changes a bit.
Have a look. So I've never been to them on day 2. So let's have a little chat. Want to win that race? Put your trust in me. I won't let you down. Drain the race's water.
It's still the same. Okay.
So if I'll come back tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is same thing, but I'm going to make sure that on day 3 in the morning I'll go and speak to them and see what
Yeah.
happens. So here we go. So, hey sir, I can certainly help for the right price.
Wait.
Steal the prize.
Oh.
You steal the prize.
I mean,
Steal the prize. What do they say? I walked away
it
before it
will be
finished.
too suspicious.
To me, I won't let you down. Done the wrong thing though because I'm going to be hungry again.
Ah.
Oh no, still okay. There's a bug. All right, so there's some stuff going on there.
Yeah. So there
So
is.
so agency. So again, so this is about, are the choices interesting decisions or are they calculations? And we have a number of kind of problems here. So one is that they are mostly calculations, all the stuff about stamina or speed or all the rest of it. But they're kind of calculations in the dark because you don't know what the impact's going to be, or you're getting no feedback from the narrative about whether you're making the right sort of choices, or no clues as to what you might face, or even as to how those stats interact with the 3 stages of the triathlon. So that feels like
Yeah.
it's, so for a start they're calculations, and then even if they weren't calculations, they're still in the dark, right? And then you have this other choice about whether to cheat, um, which doesn't seem to
I
have
mean,
a kind
it's
of
still
final
kind of.
impact. Has no
Yeah.
setup. You're not given any reason to cheat, right? Um, and so it's the sort of decision that is a little bit problematic because this is a game about managing your stats to win a race. So it's like, would you like to play the game or would you like to not play the game? Is kind of the choice that you've been given. So I think the choices are really problematic. What would a four be for agency?
So it's few choices. Player agency is problematic.
Yeah,
Mm,
I think we're there. It's not
I'm
absent.
looking.
They're trying to give us
Yeah,
choices.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, the player agency.
Let's try and steal the prize on the last day and not be hungry.
So in the meantime, what? Let's go to pacing.
So what we're looking for
Oh,
here is kind of narrative and mechanical pacing that raises over time, preferably in sort of several beats, if you like, and then has a final climax. Let me go and eat this. Here we go. Is it going to let me steal the prize? Oh, I won't let you down. Interesting.
that's the
Let's not give it. So I'm not really sure what we're doing wrong here.
right now.
Strength and took a nap again.
So yeah, the
So,
pacing.
well, what do you think? Do you think what sort of pacing do you think you're seeing?
It's there is an ending, with day three evening and then the stats screen or the story screen, but it does feel quite flat throughout the game.
Yeah,
And then
I mean, part of the problem is there's barely any game here, so there's no space for to have rising pacing. Again,
yeah,
what they should have done probably is to have something happen, right, on day three, right? So maybe I should have met the tortoise and found something out about what the tortoise is doing, right?
yeah,
So I get a
exactly, yeah.
more of an imperative to win or to cheat or something, right?
Or maybe pay the NPC or the shady NPC to pick at the stats of the turtle, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. So I actually get a
So you
little bit
can
of
be like
a yeah,
information, yeah.
something where on subsequent days the stakes go up and I've got more interesting decisions to make on those days than earlier days. But without that, it's totally flat. And there's no climax. The climax is just an account of what happened. It's not interactive. There's no sort of interactive piece at the end where I get to have an argument with the tortoise or um, those kinds of
Yeah.
things. So again, what would a poor be for
So
pacing?
that's a no serious attempt to control pacing.
I think that's where we are, isn't it? There's no variation in the days, no attempt at a climax.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Pacing and clear or flat, that would be a pass. Yeah. Well, is it at the pass because of the flatness, or are we
Well,
saying it's on
I
the poor
don't.
level because it's so?
There's just nothing. There's no events at all really.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
so the problem is that the if there were things happening on all 3 days, then I would say the pacing was flat, right, and it would be a pass.
uh,
And if the things that were happening on day 2 and 3 were more interesting or dramatic or important, I would say it had rising pacing. But there are no events happening on any days, right? It's all just exactly the same. Nothing happens. So I would say there's no attempt to control pacing at all, right?
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I think it should be at the poor level.
And what about storytelling
So
techniques?
storytelling techniques. There's no environmental storytelling. We've essentially got the dialogue. Um, we've got a kind of final end screen, I suppose. Um, I don't. I think you'd be generous to call that a kind of cutscene. I suppose it sort of fills the place of a cutscene. Um, but again, it feels like they've got a one technique which is to use the text system. Um,
Yeah,
I don't think it's enormously successful, but it is there. What would a pass be for technique?
that's a partially successful attempt to use at least one game writing technique.
Yeah, I think that's probably where we are. We've arguably got two. We've got these kind of dialogues down here, and we've got the cutscenes, which are just a page of text, right? But I don't think they're very
Yeah,
successful. So the reason they're not particularly successful is that there's no dialogue tree. I can't explore this conversation. I'm just clicking through and then saying, "Oh, you're going to put your endurance up and down." That's it. And then with the cutscenes or the final scenes, I'm not getting any information about why that's happened or what's the result of my choices or anything like that. So I think although it's there, I don't think it's very successful in sort of imparting to you as to why this has happened. You know, it's a good final scene should basically make you question your life choices. It's like, well, this is what you decided, and this is why you're here, and this is what's happened, right? And you're like, okay. And there's none of that here.
yeah.
But there are sort of partially successful. So yeah, I think it belongs at that level. It's kind of
Okay, so I think that then leads us to the feedback.
feedback. So yeah. What feedback did they get? Because I'm surprised they weren't told some of this stuff. So what did they say?
So the thing is that they write here that due to delays in finding a coursework partner and scheduling issues,
Yeah.
they didn't manage to get feedback
So no feedback at
in the
all.
labs.
Okay.
Well, so they do keep on writing here. However, over the time spent working on and developing the game, our ideas shifted a number of times. Because of this need for improvement, we introduced the shady guy as a story and game mechanic, an NPC with which interaction will result in negative responses from other characters. So that's what they.
Not that it makes much difference from the other characters; it just changes the reaction. So a couple of things.
Yeah,
So first of all, there is no excuse about the lateness. Um, I was speaking to other teams the day before the hand in and giving them feedback. So there's no reason they can email us, they can contact us on the Discord channel, lots of options to get to us. So that's not a valid excuse. It doesn't have to be in the formal labs. It can be anywhere. Uh, then I suppose, yeah. I mean, I would give them some credit. I think for introducing this shady character, as they put it. Um,
they definitely adds a bit.
it's the only thing really that we said was a narrative element. Um, I think the problem is though it's not been very successful because the way in which the other people react to it doesn't really make any difference. It doesn't seem to have any impact. So I kind of it's not clear to me what what it's actually doing. But I still think it was a good thing to try to do. So what would be a
Yeah.
pass for feedback?
Feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success.
Would a
Uh,
four be?
Or was feedback was not addressed well, although some other positive changes have been made. And I think,
It sounds like it's there, isn't it? They've got no feedback, but they've made a few positive changes.
yeah,
So yeah, I think it's at the poor level. Um, what do you think of this one?
uh, that's. I mean, uh, I like games where you have to do stats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But when there needs to be a bit more work to make it, as you said, more easily,
yeah,
like the choice for which stat
yeah. I
to raise should be meaningful and all that.
it's a dangerous thing to do because it's very easy to either have to have not enough game if you do this type of thing.
Yeah,
But it can be done well, and I think there's two problems here. So on the game front, they had no feedback loop for their stats. So what makes this interesting is this constant feedback about this is what's happening based on what you're doing. right? So you can kind of fine tune yourself over time. And without that, it just sort of feels like you're flailing about in the dark and you're not really doing anything intentionally, right? So that's the first thing. And then from the narrative point of view, they needed to have more interaction. They needed to have more narrative events happening. And I think that would have been my feedback to them is it's really important that something happens in day 2 and day 3 that actually makes the choice about whether to cheat an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise it just sort of happens in a vacuum and it just becomes this kind of you can either play the game or you can just cheat, right? Um, choice. So those I think are the things that So they had they had the basis for doing something, but I don't think they managed to do it in this very limited example. So
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
let's move on to our next game. Okay, so our next game is the intriguingly called Shadows at the Pasture's Edge, which is a lovely title. So, oh, here we go.
Oh wow.
So we have got a giant red arrow pointing up into the top left-hand corner with an eye on it. So
And you
on that.
can.
Current day 1, current plank 0, finish the day. So, you feel a bit like the last one, like a sort of spend the day. Oh, I'm on a horse. I didn't notice that. I just thought he had a pair of brown trousers on. This horse as well. It's going over the top of the lamps, but you can't do anything.
Yeah.
So maybe I think maybe I should click on that eye. Welcome to the game. Go around interacting with the villagers to build trust. Find the panther south of the river to interact with him. There are clues scattered across the map. They will make it easier to gain or lose trust on both sides. Maybe look for those first. You might want to collect some berries for the panther so he doesn't attack your herd. You go to the fence and repair it with the planks obtained by the villagers to strengthen it. There are 5 different endings based on the trust between the panther and the villagers. Good luck. Okay, so I mean it's a bit blunt and it's a bit upfront, but I appreciate that they've realised that they needed to explain and actually had to go at doing it. Yes, it's a shame I can't discover this as I go, and also it's always there, I suppose. So I can interact with the villagers about and clues. Click on it. How do I interact with the clue? Do you think? Space A E E. Right.
Okay.
Luckily we found that E. Jagged claw marks are gouged into the wood of a barn door. They're deep, space widely apart, and clear from a large creature. So we can use this evidence or hide it. So should we let's take an anti-panther stance today, I think. So
okay, yeah.
Use this evidence. So E.
And that's the berries, I think.
Oh, that's the berries. Okay. I'm glad you were paying attention. E.
That's probably the planks. Oh.
The spawn planks button to spawn planks and then drag it over the cover to cover the holes. Finishing will save the repairs for the day. Okay, spawn plank.
So you don't have any planks right now.
Oh, I see, because I've got to collect the planks first. So
Yeah,
that's where I fix the. So I can't go any further than that. I'm blocked. So again, I have no problem with you doing this and like blocking off paths and stuff. This is a good way of managing agency, but there probably should be a reason, right? So there should be a door here or something, and it should say, "Oh, you cannot leave until so and so has happened." Some sleeping chickens. Who doesn't like that? Some people.
Try to interact with the person.
Well, yeah, but it sort of told me to go and collect all the clues first, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of which is also slightly strange.
Oh, okay, that's.
Base berries. Well, there's the panther. So let's go and talk to this person here. Hearing strange sounds at night, like something rustling, and maybe the panther. I'm worried it could come into the village. Better to be safe than sorry. Double check your doors and windows at night. All my neighbours too. Exit. Wait, so another blockage. Uh, let's see. Also, if you're
Yeah.
gonna block me, why make me walk all the way down here before blocking me? Block me
Yeah,
here
that's.
and saved all my time. In fact, path. I'm there. Look.
Oh wait, that's.
At the strike. Yeah. Spread the word and prepare. Yeah. Lost 2 sheep to wolves this season. That panther's next. I know it. You should set traps. That's the kind of sense we need. Bring a bit of populism into my games. So what's the?
So where do we
Well,
have?
listen to those elite. Where do I get my planks from then? There's a
Oh,
fry,
what was?
there's a roast chicken on a blanket, but no planks. Carrots, lots of carrots.
Okay.
The planks obtained by the villager to strengthen it. By the villager. Is there
I think the one that had fallen over had an option.
did say get
for
some
planks.
planks, but it was greyed out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Finished day thing. Berries placed. Hello, Mr. Panther. Calm but wary. I can't protect you. Would you reckon? Oh, I can't protect you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, fine. And we're gonna finish.
Oh,
the day.
maybe. Can you go somewhere? Yeah, over here.
Yep,
Maybe
thanks.
there. I mean, probably not, but.
To have found a way through. But no, I don't think I'm supposed to go this way. I'm worried that I'm gonna get stuck.
Yeah.
Let's finish
Okay,
the day.
I don't
Let's finish the day.
think.
I'll sleep here. Finish the day. 3 sheep were killed overnight. Oh dear. Right, so we still got any planks. Let's see if we can get the guy who gives planks today.
I don't think there were. Yeah.
Oh. Is that there?
It was
Up there.
on the. Yeah.
My mistake. Right.
Okay,
the
there
fields
is.
at night. My crops feed this future. I can't afford losses. Let's get some planks.
Okay. Oh, now we have 8.
But why? But why? Okay, so I get the planks from him, but that seems totally devoid of any connection to the dialogue. Woven basket lies shredded at the forest edge. Long tears in the basket. Claws or teeth are involved. Use this evidence.
Yeah.
This mini game. Thorn plank. There we go. Got my life. It's like a log. Cover up. Well, it's going to be a. I'm supposed to cover it totally.
Probably not. I don't see how. Yeah, that's.
The shoddy plank fixing is done. Okay, slightly strange. Can I spawn more planks? No. Finish. Don't really know what I'm doing or why, if I'm honest. Give the panther more berries again.
Oh, you can also get planks with this.
Let's organise
So
a watch.
even-
Oh, I could get more. What can I get there? Planks. Oh, can I always get planks from the villagers?
I'm not sure actually, but right now yes, or at least I think it was there.
So it gives me a choice of either talking to them or getting planks.
Yeah. Which is.
Person over here? No.
I think there was one above the. This one.
Here somewhere.
Yeah, that one. Ah, get planks. Yeah.
Oh, get me planks. Why does...
Oh, now you have 9.
If I go back, I can't... I find that odd. It's like, could you do this thing for me? Give me planks. Okay, not speaking to you anymore. There we go.
Ah, it's still there. Okay.
No. Okay, but have I done enough, do you think?
I say go for everything. I think there should be just enough.
Well... all at the top there.
Yeah, just...
This one, I think.
I think... No? I think that's it.
Yeah, no one's going to get through there.
Yeah.
But there's no feedback to say if I'm doing anything right. Let's go and talk to Panther. They're off. Today, 2 sheep killed.
Oh, okay.
Give me planks.
Yeah.
Just get lots of planks. Oh no, it's up there, wasn't it? Sorry, I keep going down the wrong way. Oh, I think I'll help. Thank you so much. So okay, so it's like a quest that you automatically complete. Get planks, more planks. I've got 17 planks now. Right, get some berries.
Oh, there is.
Oh, is that another hole in the fence?
Maybe. Oh.
It's been ripped from the deep scratches. Use this evidence. Right.
But where do you use it?
Oh, oh! It's a new hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it a new hole though? Cover it with planks. I've got 17 planks. I think that will be enough. Don't really know.
I mean, mostly probably.
Can I move them once I've... Oh, I can. Okay. I've left.
I think that's just enough. Yeah, just enough for...
There you go, no one's coming through there. Look at that. Okay, let's go this way. So I'm guessing I have 3 days. I can't remember what it said at the beginning. Perhaps this is the last day. Placing the berries. Hello, Mr. Cat. That's it. So finish the day. 1 sheep killed.
1 sheep.
Next
Okay.
day.
Oh, you have a...
Yeah, use this evidence. No planks left. While we're doing this, should we talk about the presentation?
Yeah.
So I would say that this is sort of feels workable to me. It's kind of it's nice and consistent. All the sprites look the same. The information design, I can see the current day. I've got my number of planks. I've got a bit of music, a bit of sound effects. But at the same time, I don't think it's, all the villages look the same. Or like where the reputation is or my trust level is or anything like that. It's just
yeah, that's true.
So I think from the information design point of view, or like where the villages are, or where I'm supposed to be going, or how many days there are. I don't know. I'm just getting planks.
A lot of planks.
So yeah, that's where it feels like to me. What is the satisfactory level for presentation?
Yeah, that's effective, but some inconsistencies.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've got 18 planks now. Yeah, that sort of feels like where we are. It's kind of. I mean, what would? Well,
uh, yeah, that's complete and effective. That's professional
I mean,
at a good
it's
level.
yeah, sort of. I mean, there's
Getting there, yeah, maybe.
kind of. It feels to me like, well, if I'm hesitating, maybe we should put it between the two.
Yeah,
So it feels like
just a few.
it's got a few problems um, with the kind of information design. Oh, look, I got loads of extra planks. Like this, for example, it would be nice to know how much I'd covered up as a percentage or something, and also what was the acceptable level. Right? So that kind of
Yeah,
feedback feels like it's missing. You know. So halfway between the two, I think.
yeah. What about mechanics, controls, and bugs?
So there aren't a lot of mechanics. Sorry, a lot of controls rather, but they're fine. I can move around, click on things. That's all fine. Um, Mechanics. Mechanically, what can I do? I've got the little plank puzzle. That's definitely a kind of a game element, if you like. I've got exploring the village, and I've got talking to individuals and making choices. And I've got the interacting
Yeah,
thing with the E. So there's not an awful lot going on, but there is some things happening. Uh, so I would say that this is one of those ones where the controls are fine, but mechanically it's quite simple. And also, this is we're sort of encouraging to say what our reaction is. And I think is it what's good described as that is engaging.
yeah, engaging.
Yeah. See, I don't feel particularly engaged. What would a satisfactory be?
That's the playable one where it's a simpler game with fewer mechanics and usable controls.
Feels kind of
I
there.
think.
One
Yeah,
sheep. We're getting fewer sheep next day. How many days are there?
E5.
Give me planks and go away.
Yeah, it does feel at the satisfactory level.
The planks. Get me some planks. I'm not even reading it
And I,
anymore. And I think the reason is because it
yeah,
doesn't appear to have any impact. Just chasing these around there. Oh, the evidence. And it's just making me do the same thing again and again and again.
yeah. I think that leads us to the story engine actually.
Yeah. So we
Uh,
haven't really seen the result yet of our actions, have we? So I think kind of. So what did they say? In their game notes, we asked them to sort of talk about the story engine and describe what it was doing. So
yeah.
while I hopefully finish and get to the end, what did they actually say?
So, for example, on how does the game world impact the narrative? There are 5 different endings depending on the trust you have obtained with either party. This is influenced by your actions and your interactions with the NPCs. The different endings show the consequences of your actions. And there is immediate feedback from the dialogue to the player based on the decisions made, showing the attitude of the NPCs towards you. Okay. Game mode. Yeah. So if you don't fix the hole, for example, you
Yeah.
get more sheep killed, and they get more angry at you, maybe.
Okay. So is that why the sheep is going down? Because
I think so.
which has lost faith in you, and the panther lashes out due to fear of hunger. Chaos erupts and retaliate, leaving scars on both sides.
Oh wow.
But why? Why have they lost faith in me? I've been doing the. Is that because I've not been answering their questions and being nice to them? I kind of feel like I'm
So
not. I'm not quite sure how my actions are related to the outcome.
Yeah. So in here it does say, so for the Panther Trust, you increase it by cooperating or showing empathy, and decreases if you show hostility or neglect. The Villager Trust increases if you keep the herd safe, so less sheep killed, to reassure them and live up to your promises. And
I
the
can't,
fence
but
integrity.
I can't reassure them because if I get planks, which I need to get to fix the fence,
Yeah.
so I don't understand. Well, right, let's forget about the fence. Let's set the traps. Let's just be brutal. Spread the word and prepare. Safe than sorry. There we go. That'll do.
Yeah.
Gather the evidence. Use this evidence. That'll do. Finish the day. One sheep killed. So forget about this
Okay,
thing.
that's.
Can't take risks. Organize a watch. Safe.
Yeah,
It's
that one.
important. Better safe than sorry. Okay, that's all of those. Find the evidence of it killing chickens and whatnot. I think that was it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was on the other actually. That was the berries, and this is the evidence. Yeah.
Use the evidence. There we go. Finish the day. No sheep killed today.
Wow. Okay. That's.
So, despite the fact it's time to take action. So, I'm even bothering with the panther on this run. I'll help you. Here we go. Fear. Stoke the fear.
Yeah. And
Hey.
oh yeah, the.
Yeah. More evidence. Finish the day. One sheep killed.
Only one. Okay.
Hey, still not sure. Strengthen your defenses. Stay away from the forest. Alert the village and keep watch tonight. I like it. It's like.
It's on the left, I think, the evidence thing.
Okay, let's go and find
in one of the. Yeah, that one.
Here's the evidence. Finish the day. No sheep killed.
Oh wow. Okay. So we can just leave a hole in the fence.
Oh, here we go. We've finished treating the livestock's wound, or save what happened to the villagers. What do you think? Save it for the villagers. Look after those villagers.
Yeah.
Prepare for the worst. This is great. It's like, can't take chances.
Yeah. And where's the last? Oh yeah, there.
These are the things that right-thinking people. That's what. It's definitely giving me those kinds of vibes.
Yeah.
Use the evidence.
And this is the final day. So, yeah, let's see what happens.
And certainly with the other village and all the panther fully trusting you, it's an easy balance that could shift at any moment.
Oh wow.
So I went through, I did everything for the villagers I could. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to be very pro-panther.
Yeah, okay.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, I've clicked the wrong button. Right.
So,
that's a mistake. Let's try and be pro-panther. Right, so we don't provoke it. We'll regret it. The panther's perfectly in it. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's go and give the nice panther some berries. Okay, so we were talking about story engines, I think, before I got distracted with some berries, and there we go. That's nice.
So the story engine is difficult in a way.
Again, it's you need to have a game, right? Game elements here. There's the mending the fence. That's like a little sub game. So, so there's that. But there's the game with the fence. But actually, the game otherwise isn't really a game, right? I'm not really doing anything. I mean, I can pick up the berries and I mean, if you gave me if you gave me a menu with with a number of ticks on it, and it was like do you want to help villager 1, help villager 2, help villager 3, feed the panther the berries, and mend the fence? And I went, yeah, do those things, and then just hit enter. I need no skill. There's no puzzle solving. There's nothing in order to do those things. So, I did the next A thing again. That was a mistake. Save it for the villagers. Am I being nice to the villagers? I can't remember. What am I doing on this run? No, be nice to the panther.
Yeah, you were the.
Yeah, don't be mean to the panther. It's not the panther. Just because there's giant claw marks over it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Hide the evidence. Not clear why we're hiding the evidence, but hide it anyway. Final day.
The last day. Yeah.
No sheep were killed. No. Okay, weird. So I was really nice to the panther on that run. Got that ending. Yes. Okay. So let's think about this then. So we've got game world to story. So the game world is the mini game with the planks and walking around basically and collecting the berries, and that's it. So does any of that affect the story? I mean, I think they've intended it to. So like if you mend the fence, then that presumably, I mean, according to this at least, you can go to the fence and repair it with the planks to strengthen it. So that might help.
Yeah.
I guess. But it's not clear how. So there is some interaction. And also I can, I either find the evidence or I don't. So I think there's a couple of places where the game does affect the story in fairly minor ways. So what would a pass be for game to story?
Pass would be a few sparse or minor examples of where the game world impacts the story, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah, I think that is, isn't it? So I think that's where we are. So yeah, I'm a bit perplexed now. Having done this sort of extreme endings, I don't know what to do. Because I just seem to be getting the same sort of thing. I've got no planks actually, have I?
Yeah, and what about the story to game world?
Game world, what are the story choices I'm making? So they are things like this.
Yeah,
so this is a story choice, right?
Yeah.
But this doesn't impact the game world. There's no. I think it has a story to story impact, right? Because this will affect my reputation, and therefore that will give me a different ending, which is part of the story.
Yeah.
But the game world is this village and the bridge and the berries, and it doesn't affect anything here at all, right? So if I say we should set traps now before it's too late, there should be traps now in the village, right? But there aren't. There's nothing has changed.
Yeah, what they say is that the choices you make do change variables, but again, we don't see them.
Don't see them in the game world, no.
Yeah.
So at the very least, my actions should have consequences in terms of what I see. So the sort of presentation of the world, and preferably they should change the world. So maybe, for example, at some point the visitors trust me enough that they open up a gate and let me into another part of the village, right? Where there's this extra thing I can do. Or
that's.
So something like that would be a good example. But I think unfortunately there is nothing here at all. So I think there is no story to game world at all.
So an absent here would be a story premise, but no serious attempt at integrating the story with the game.
Yeah, I think that's where we are.
Okay. And what about
agency?
Agency.
What do you think? What are our choices that you think we've got?
So that's difficult. So I read what they said about the variables, and there's basically three things: the panther trust, the villager trust, and the fence integrity. And this game is you have to juggle between those. So, for example, if you decide to fix the fence, you cannot diplomatically talk to the villagers or
Okay,
reassure them or
that's interesting.
etc.
So I'd assumed that was a mistake, but that's intentional.
Yeah, so if you get the planks, you cannot talk to them about the panther and all that, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder. I don't really understand that choice.
But yeah, that's the thing. The choice isn't very clear, or it's, yeah, I don't know. It's a
What I should have
very
done is just spawned lots of planks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there are. So there are choices, although it's a bit vague what some of them do.
Choices, but they don't. Yeah, as you said, there's no. It's not obvious. Let's get all the planks out. That's better. That's a better way to do it. Yeah, it's sort of not obvious what any of them are actually going to do. So I reckon that's good enough.
Especially the evidence thing.
Yeah.
You either hide it or use it as evidence, and then what?
And then there's the thing about, well, what am I, like this one here, for example, use this as evidence or hide it? But why would I pick one or the other?
Exactly.
What's my reason? So first of all, I don't know what the consequences of this will be, right? I just don't understand. So I know there's some variables behind the scene, but if I use this evidence, but they're modelling the villagers' trust in me. So in what way does me presenting this evidence to them affect that? The panther can't see me show them this evidence because it's a panther. So I don't know what it does. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, assuming this is am I going to side with the panther or not type of moral decision, why is that a moral decision, right? This is a wild animal that's attacking and murdering sheep in a village. It's not a moral quandary, right? So I don't think they've done enough to set up the choices and to make you feel like so I feel like the panther's a royal pain in the rear end, basically, right? And I've got no reason. So like when I went and met the panther, if I'd perhaps realised that the panther had panther cubs and it's trying to feed its cubs or its family or something, right? So I get a bit of empathy with the panther, and now I'm like, oh no, should I be doing what I'm doing with the village? And it sets it up properly. There's nothing like that. And then the consequences of my actions are completely unclear as well. So I would say that they have choices, but it's not clear why they're important or what will happen if I take them, right?
Yeah.
So and I kind of feel that's consistent throughout all of these interactions. So what would a pass be for agency?
So that's some choices, but only a few are interesting choices. And a poor would be few choices, and player agency is problematic.
So I think there are some choices, but player agency is problematic. So it's kind of halfway between the two.
Yeah. And what about the pacing? That's
So again, we have a similar thing that there's nothing happening on. Well, actually, that's not true. Actually, is there? There are things happening on these days because these interactions with the villagers change.
And the evidence, I guess, also but
changes. So I think there are events, there are things happening, but I would say it's flat. I mean, there's nothing. It doesn't feel like it's ramping up over time. It doesn't feel like there's any kind of climax at the end. Right? It just feels.
Yeah.
It feels flat. So I mean, what would a pass be?
Yeah, that's basically pacing is unclear or flat.
Yeah. And that seems to be where we are. Thanks anymore.
Yeah, and
So I've got 7 planks there. Do I get more planks if I do that? Yeah, I get 15 planks. Search the area. Get the panther. The elites have done it. Right, let's go up here.
What do you think about the storytelling techniques?
So, we've sort of, if you were being generous, you'd say we've got 2. We've got the dialogue. And we've also got the text at the end, which is sort of in lieu of a cutscene. And obviously, we're not expecting the students to do a full-on cutscene in the time that they have. So yeah, I think we've there's evidence of a couple of different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Are they done particularly well? I mean,
yeah,
I don't think
conversation.
So. Really, the conversations are fine. If they feel a bit aimless, but they're fine. The bit at the end, though, it's not entirely clear how your actions led to it, and I think that's a bit of a problem. So what would a satisfactory be for that?
So that's fully successful use of at least one game writing technique.
So I don't think they're quite there.
Yeah, and pass would be a partially successful attempt to use at least one game writing technique.
They kind of feel like they're there at the pass level. They've had a go at 2 different techniques. Or maybe actually, because the dialogue's kind of okay, it would be nice if it was a bit more developed. So maybe halfway between the 2.
Yeah, that's it's almost there. Let's see. And let me check the feedback now. So we have received some feedback regarding the difficulty in understanding the mechanics, as they can be hidden. Which, in response, we added an information page that the player can access at any time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I have to be honest. I think if that wasn't there, I would have not had a clue.
Oh yeah. So we were told that it was too difficult to achieve the good ending. Therefore, we lowered the impact of certain actions, such as the number of sheep killed per night if the panther attacks, to make things easier. Additionally, we added an option to feed the panther berries to further decrease the odds of attacking. And so that's...
Okay, so the berry... I thought the berries were me being nice to the panther, but I'm basically sort of...
Yeah,
trying to feed it so it doesn't...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
And see where they... or what they... Like, I agree with the information thing about understanding the mechanics.
Yeah, although, again, putting the information box there...
it can be done in a different way, yeah.
Yeah, is about as blunt a way as you could do it, I think. So it's a shame that they couldn't find a more sort of sophisticated way to make that work. Still, and they are right. We haven't seen the good ending, right? Yeah. Okay. So I think for the first one, in terms of put the info box in there, it was absolutely necessary, but it kind of highlights a bigger problem, really. That throughout the... So what they should have done is they should have introduced the concepts as you came up to them. They could have done it in the dialogue. The villagers could have explained it to you on day one, I suppose. And they also should have... they should have had some sort of feedback, I think, to help you understand what was going on with the statistics. And instead they just told you.
Much.
They just told you up front, right? I think that's a problem. So they've sort of addressed the feedback, but not particularly successfully, I think.
Yeah, limited success.
So where would that place them?
That's at the pass level.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I
Okay.
really want to see the good ending, but
Yeah,
it feels very
it,
difficult.
it's hard to get there. So I think we're going to have to make do. I mean, so
Yeah.
my thoughts are again, not enough game basically. Um, if I was them, I'd have lent into the fence building thing because that's almost like a kind of fun little mini game where you have to fix the fences and stop the panther getting in by blocking them up. And I think kind of maybe lean into that as the game element, and then have some
Yeah.
kind of narrative around that. Um, that you needed to build up more sympathy with the panther. You needed to have things happening on these days. Just coming back to the same day again and again and again is just, it needs to ramp up and have some kind of dramatic rising tension. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Um, so I think that's what I would have thought about is ways to make it mechanically more interesting and ways to bring in more narrative events to kind of make the narrative work more effectively. What about you? What would have been your kind of major bits of feedback? Do you think?
I mean, I mostly agree with you. I really, the idea of having the panther have like cups, for example, and you see and understand that, oh yeah, I probably want to help her,
Yeah,
and the actual choice, not just. Although now that they mention the fact that if you feed the panther, it does decrease the chance of attacking. But again, that's not clear at all.
yeah,
So yeah, stuff like that, basically. And I agree with the element of the game element with the fence. That could go a few ways.
yeah.
Make it a mini game with the panther behind you and something, trying to get in shapes.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like there's something there, but again, it's you know this idea that you're just walking around, and unfortunately, that's just not that engaging. Um, so yeah, it kind of doesn't quite work. I think. Right, last day. No, it's not. I got one more day. Oh, I can't do it.
Almost
I
last, yeah.
can't bring myself to do it. Oh dear. 4 sheep killed. That sounds bad.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I think we need to move on to our next game. So our final game in this video is called Crown and Cloak. Okay, here we go. We have a
Title screen, okay.
pretty minimal title screen, but it is a title screen. And I kind of quite like the simplicity of it, actually. Crown and Cloak. Let's start. You need to enter the beginner's tutorial. Yes.
Probably.
So the zoomy, I like the zoomy dialogue. That's okay. Nice transitions. This is the character's health. When it drops to 0, the character dies. When they say this, what is this?
I think the green thing on the bottom right, the green circle maybe,
Oh, I think
or
no. The green this green circle around. Oh, I don't. Yeah.
maybe.
Or are they talking? I don't know what the character's health is. That's confusing. Also, what do I press to carry on? The mouse
The
button?
mouse.
This displays the equipment currently worn by the character. So that's highlighted, right? I saw that. So so we currently have that equipped. You can use 1 or 2 to switch equipment.
So that's the equipment.
Use WAS to control. There you go. So that tells me what's equipped. The Supreme Glory. Others fear and avoid while you also struggle to move forward. So this makes me tough, presumably. 2. You feel relaxed all over.
So this makes you faster, this makes you slower, but probably
Stronger or something.
yeah.
Still don't know where my health is. Just badly offset chess set. There you go. Okay. Oh, enter game.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, this is a tutorial area. They haven't actually tutorialized the game. What they've just done is they've just told me what the controls are. I still don't know what the game is, or what I'm supposed to do, or being able to practice it. But I appreciate at least having that. In an ancient
Ah,
kingdom, an adventurer named Carl stumbled into the legendary cavern of radiance. Oh, it's a bit slow. Can I click? Shall I dare click? Yes. At its
yeah.
centre stood two starkly contrasting items: crown of glory and a humble brown cloak. Take them with you, a deep voice echoed. Carl reached out and touched the crown, mesmerised by its brilliance. But before leaving, he draped the cloak over his shoulders. Your choice decide your fate, the voice faded. Glory may destroy you, while simplicity may save you. It's all in your hands. And with both items in tow, Carl embarked on a journey into the unknown. So, I guess I'm Carl, and I have a crown of glory and a cloak. And that's my two things, is it? You reckon?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
or hit points. My
Oh,
hit points are dropping.
I think that was a bug.
No.
Oh.
So if I go into crown mode,
Oh, I think it's because this is dirt, and when you wear the crown, you're heavy, so you you.
that's my health. So my health wasn't showing in the thing. So it wasn't. I was being.
Yeah, that was
So
probably.
there's got a goblin-y thing. Come here, you. Have at it. I don't know what that does. Can I interact with the goblin? What happens if I'm not me? Does he come and get me? Oh, he stabs me. Get off! Horrible little goblin. Oh, it's coming again. Get off me. Get off.
I see.
Okay, so I move Alright, so if I just walk through this whole section like this then, because there's pointless me going fast because I'll just get stabbed by all the
But there is a time limit, as you see on top.
vicious little Dobby lookalikes.
Yeah.
There's a time
Yeah,
limit.
I see it.
Oh, there's a time limit.
Yeah.
See, no one's mentioned the time limit, have they? Alright, so let's
Not yet.
run away, run away.
Wow, they're
Dead.
very fast. Can you
So-
attack them?
No. Oh. Malcolm Bay. Climb onto the crown is only proof of worth. But the waiter finally brought him to his knees. Enemies swarmed. Prophecy came true. The crown lay abandoned. Blah blah blah. Okay. Bad things happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, no health so far.
They
This
missed, I think, or maybe a bug or something.
I can use one or two to switch between the equipment, and I then have to. My click stopped working now, and I actually have to switch.
Okay.
That's to. And then, yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing
So
about
that's-
There's nothing about kind of sinking into the ground or anything strange. I suppose they show you straight away. This was the only patch, and then there's the goblin. So let's try to avoid the goblin. Is he coming for me? Get off! But how do I get away from him? Because he just.
Yeah, he just attacks you. Oh, I think you lost the other two actually somehow.
Yeah, I managed to run away, but I can't run away. And if I do that, they just catch up with me. So what
I mean,
am I
you're
supposed
doing-
to do?
Maybe switch between, yeah, just before they attack you, which seems like it's working.
So that blows them away. That kind of.
Yeah. That's a tornado.
Did that cause me damage?
I think if
Ah,
you're not
get
wearing
off.
the crown and you're not heavy, the tornadoes.
So this feels a little bit better because I have a chance. Score of 9. I don't understand the golden crown thing. It's like you're attempting to wear the golden crown too much. I'm like, well, if I don't, I just get killed. It's not like it makes it easier. It just makes it possible.
I think that I think the idea is that you could go through the whole game, or almost the whole game, with the crown only, but then you're slow, and the time limit, will get you. But if you're only with the cloak, then they will kill you, or the tornadoes will kill you, etc. So you have to kind of switch between them constantly, balance or something.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
But it said that this bit kind of, oh dear, but it's sort of, just okay. I agree with you, but that's not what the moral of the story is. The moral of the story is not to use so it feels like what they're going for is a kind of like Lord of the Rings type moment, right? Where it's like Frodo could pick the ring up and walk to Mordor and no one would see him, but he can't do that because the ring makes him sick, basically. So that's what they're trying to go for. But the problem is that imagine the Lord of the Rings, but Frodo has to wear the ring to get to Mordor. He has no choice. And that's kind of the problem here, is like, because it's making me toggle between the two, which is fine from a gameplay point of view. I don't have a problem as a mechanic. That works. The problem is from the sort of moral of the story point of view. Just doesn't make any sense.
What's that orb there?
Winner. Score 9. Okay. And also, I'm missing the story bit, but I've got the kind of bit at the end here. Okay, so he stopped to catch his breath. It's plain. Cloak was lovely. The crown, on the other hand, lay quietly in his bag. Every time he'd worn it, it brought more enemies, greater challenges, and heavier burdens. It didn't. It didn't. That's what I mean. There's like this fundamental mismatch between the mechanics of the game, which is about manipulating. Do you want to be slow and tough or fast and weak, right? Which is a perfectly great mechanic, and the story, which is never use this thing, even though it's really tempting to use this thing, right? And I don't think they've quite pulled that off. That's why I'm finding quite confusing. But, okay, well we sort of got to the end, so I presume it'll take me to the start again. So should we start going through the criteria?
Can start. Yeah.
So
graphics, audio, and information design.
So the graphics are perfectly workable.
Yeah.
There's no health thing here. That's a minor bug, isn't it? Information design is slightly odd in that this shows me what's equipped with my two choices, but then this green circle also shows me what's equipped.
Yeah, that's a bit confusing.
So in the tutorial, it starts off being the wrong way round. So I don't know if you noticed, but the cloak was equipped, but the crown was shown, which is a bit strange. WASD is the wrong keys to use because the 1 and 2 is right above it, and you can't toggle as you're moving. So the keys you should be using are the arrow keys with your fingers on 1 and 2. So I think that's a weird problem. That's a controls thing, really. But
yeah, I see that.
So in terms of presentation, it kind of feels perfectly workable. It's fine.
Audio.
I've got some sound. I've got kind of little sound effects. The fundamental thing of toggling between the two. It's a shame there's no effect when you do that, because that seems like a really major thing to do, right? Yeah, it kind of isn't really responded to by the presentation. So I would describe it as kind of, it's fairly consistent, I think. Oh, I've escaped them.
Oh, wow, okay. They're right. There's more. But yeah, so satisfactory would be workable, effective, but some inconsistencies.
is it? Yeah, I don't think there's too many inconsistencies. There's a kind of a few places where I think it could have been, there could have been a bit better, but it's not inconsistent. It's just things like that. It's things like
Yeah.
the feedback and the information stuff, and yeah, I think that's probably those elements more than anything else. So yeah, okay. So maybe I don't think it's so good would be appealing, wouldn't it?
Good would be professional, which is complete and effective.
Yeah, it feels like it probably is more at the satisfactory level. Maybe halfway between the two because they've got all the elements in place.
Yeah, and for example, the effect of the screen also is nice. A bit, the small effects like that. That's
they've made an effort to kind of like the coins glow nicely as well. I think that's quite well done. So if can I literally just run away from them or wear the crown at all? I've been complaining that I have to wear the crown, but I'm wondering if I do.
I
still don't. I think I am getting hacked a bit, aren't I? Yeah.
Yeah.
Murdered by dobbies in a forest. It's not the glamorous way to go. So
what about
the mechanics. So
and controls and bugs.
If we think about, so while I'm at it, it's strange that this sinky bit is at the beginning, but nowhere else in the game.
They do explain that in the notes for later.
So controls. Yeah. Controls I kind of are fine. So
you did mention about the
thing that feels a bit clumsy is the swapping. And it feels like it should be a bigger deal. It should be a pleasure to swap.
Because
that's like the whole point.
So yeah.
I'm not sure about this bit. I'm not sure whether or not I'm actually better off with the cloak on here.
Yeah, I don't think you are actually. It's just that
they still
without
harm,
the cloak, you're easier.
They still harm you.
Yeah. But with the cloak, with the cloak, it's easier to dodge them, run past them. I mean,
go slowly. So, sorry, with the cloak. Yes, you're right.
With the cloak, yeah.
But what? So why? But again, isn't the whole game about tempting me to wear the crown? That's what I mean about the sort of inconsistency. I kind of. Come on, I get there 11. Yeah, 11. So look, so I think it's kind of. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's playable. I would describe it as playable rather than engaging. So I think that's probably at the.
Yeah.
That's probably at the satisfactory level, isn't it? Yeah. Everything is kind of working. There's a couple of, the mechanics are the switching. You've got the goblins attacking you. You've got the picking up coins. So you've got there's enough dynamics in, there I was trying to dodge this is the fun bit really, dodging the tornadoes to pick up the coins is actually quite a fun bit of play. So this bit is engaging, but overall I would say it's probably playable.
Yeah.
So if we come on to the story engine then.
Yeah.
I think we do. So first of all, my first comment would be that this isn't really a narrative game in the way that we asked for it. It's a game with a premise, and it gives you a kind of a narrative conclusion at the end, right? But it's not really an interactive narrative in the way that we asked for one, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they do in this section.
Yeah.
So first up is what? Game World to Story.
Game World to Story, yeah.
So Game World to Story. Does the story at the end change according to how much you've used the cloak or the crown. It looked to me like it just, if you die, it gives you one ending, and if you get to the end, you get another ending. Does it say anything in their notes about whether it monitors?
Doesn't look like it.
Because if it doesn't, then there is no interaction at all, unfortunately, between the game and the story.
Because the way they've explained this in their notes, it seems like they've decided that you going through the different stages is part of the narrative. So you going,
yeah, but we've
passing through all of that.
But we've explained in the lectures about the difference between drama stories and journey stories. So a journey story you don't need a story engine for, right? Explicitly say that in the lectures. You don't need a story engine because the thing that's monitoring the state of the story is literally what level you're on, right?
Yeah.
So anything that the things that need a story engine are stories with dramatic elements where events happen, right? And the story sort of remembers the things that you've done. If the only thing that needs to be remembered is where you are in the story, that's not a story engine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think this is what they've. Oh, I got 12 that time. So yeah, if we think about this, it says winner. Carl emerged from that. So this is the same, isn't it? This is the same text every time.
Yeah.
So I don't think. So this is the story bit, right? It's the premise at the beginning and then the payoff at the end. And the payoff at the end is purely, you get a different payoff if you die than if you succeed. I think this is an absent for Game World to Story. There's a premise, but there is no. And depending on if you die, you get a different piece of narrative than if you don't die, and that's literally the only thing in there, right? But I don't think you can count that as a story engine interaction, right? It's just
look at what they said. For example, one of the things they said, feedback in the game world allows players to see the consequences of their choices, such as feedback loops. Crowns attract more enemies. Cloaks avoid danger. This mechanism not only allows players to intuitively feel the narrative theme, but also reinforces the core lesson that the most valuable things are often underestimated. And yeah, it doesn't feel necessarily like what they said.
I mean, what does absent say for this?
Yeah, so absent is a story premise, but no serious attempt at integrating the game with the story.
That's exactly what we have. We have a story premise, and a final thing that reacts to whether you've successfully made it or not, but no attempt to integrate the story with the game itself. There's no. There's no story delivery during the game, and therefore there's nothing that has to monitor how well I'm doing and will change that story, right? So I think it's an absent. And then if we think about story to game, again, if you're being generous, you'd say, well, they've made a diegetic choice, right, which is whether or not you wear the cloak or not, right? But I think that's a relatively generous interpretation, but you could say that. Ace, that's a story choice. So does the game react to that? Oh, it's not a story choice, though, is it? Because it's a mechanical choice as you're playing.
Yeah.
I like the idea of. I kind of like the whole idea of saying, look, there's two ways to play, and we're going to make it useful to have one. you're going to be discouraged from, there's a narrative reason not to use it, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of like that, but I just don't think they've integrated it enough. Because if I can get through here without using the, I did manage to get through there without using the cloak. So I don't think I've used. I don't think I've used the cloak at all. I'm going to see if I can get to the end.
Yeah, I don't think you'll.
Hey, is it going to give me any reference? No, it's exactly the same. Yeah, every time you had worn it, it brought more enemies, but I didn't ever wear it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, this is story to game world. So I don't think I'm making any story choices. Right? I think I'm making a mechanical choice, and the game is sort of riffing on that a little bit, but it's not responding or monitoring how much I've done it. Right? So again, I think this is absent again. I think they have no story engine.
Yeah.
I presume it's the same, is it? So sort of support for a premise, but no.
Yeah, no serious attempt at integrating the story with the game.
Yeah, I think that's what we have. Sadly.
Yeah, richness of choice. That's also.
I
mean, there is the choice of which one to do and where.
Yeah. But it's not a narrative choice. It's a mechanical choice.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with having the story. So a story engine, what a story engine should be doing here at the very least is monitoring how much you're wearing the crown and how much you're wearing the cloak, and then changing the ending to reflect that. And that would be a story engine, right? It wouldn't be doing very much, but that would be a story engine. But then that's still not really a narrative decision, right? The narrative decisions you make as you go through. So there is no narrative delivery system within the game. There's no way to make narrative decisions in the game because of that. Yeah. So I think it feels therefore as basically a linear game with a premise. You start at the beginning, go to the end, and if you die, you get one ending, and if you don't, you get another ending. That's it. So what would be an absent for this, for agency?
A story with no real choices of consequence.
It, isn't it?
Yeah.
Choices I make have absolutely no impact on the end of the game at all. Setting it up as the theme of the game. So there's nothing. So just to be clear about this, we're not saying that that's wrong, right? There are plenty of really great mechanical games that don't really have a story engine or in that story element, but have a premise, right? And we give some examples. Space Invaders has a premise, but it has no narrative. It's not a narrative game. It just has a premise, and it sort of frames the interaction of the game, and it makes you understand your goals and all the rest of it. So there's nothing wrong with what they've done. It just isn't what we asked for. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So that takes us on. Pacing.
Pacing.
So here
I think here at
feel
least
there is some. Go on.
Yeah. There is, at least to me, it feels like there is some pacing. It's not flat. Does get.
It's not narrative pacing. It's mechanical pacing. But you're right. It is. So you've got the bit at the beginning which you with these goblins, and then this gets more and more intense. Okay, so that kind of works as a pacing element.
Yeah. Then you get to
the tornadoes. Again, it feels like I'm missing a kind of final climax sort of thing. I kind of get to the end of Tornado Alley, and that's it, pretty much. As there are here.
So that would be some ascending pacing at the satisfactory, and good would be ascending pacing with a clear final peak, and as you said,
Doesn't have that.
it feels
Does it have ascending pacing though? It's got kind of.
yeah
It's quite
for
limited.
some
Yeah.
and it's again mechanical or like
What would be a? So that was what
paths.
satisfactory was it? Was it?
Yeah, a pass would be pacing unclear or flat.
I think it is better than that, but it's just got that one step up, hasn't it? So maybe
Yeah.
halfway between the two to
Yeah.
represent the fact that the second part of the level is different and more and kind of feels. It's not actually that it's more difficult necessarily. It's more engaging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and then
And
story techniques. So again,
I mean, there's
the text at the
um,
beginning and the text at the end. So they've used one technique, but again, they've
yeah.
not used it well. They've kind of got a wall of text at the beginning and a wall of text at the end. Must be. Let's see if I can.
Partially successful attempt to use at least one technique.
I think maybe that's where we are if we were being generous.
Yeah, because a poor would be an unsuccessful attempt, and it's not unsuccessful, but it's not
It's quite limited.
fully. So it's partially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's there.
Just gonna get a score of 13. I'm not sure if there's enough gold coins.
It doesn't seem like.
I'm intrigued what their feedback was because
Okay.
I'd like to think that they were told that they didn't have a story engine. So, yeah, what were they told in their feedback?
So feedback 1, pay attention to the pacing of the game, and the response was we decided to add time limits to certain parts of the game. The time limit ensures a dynamic progression of tension in the game, avoids situations where the pacing feels laggy or the decision-making process is too lengthy, and adds new changes to existing game mechanics.
So I think the timer. I don't. So if you play like this, the timer has no consequence really. What it's good for is if you play like this, because then you think, oh, I'm not going to make it. I can't. So I would say that the timer is a way of getting rid of a dominant strategy. It doesn't really add much pacing, right? Because this is a dominant strategy, right? I just walk through the game like this. It's boring, but I can do it. I actually wonder whether I could still do it like this. It might be enough time for me to do it.
Maybe, but then here,
that
I don't
work.
think it's. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so I'm not convinced that worked quite how they intended, but it was still a useful addition. Do we have anything else?
That's it, actually.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's quite limited feedback. I'm surprised they weren't told at some point you have no story engine. But then maybe they didn't come to the labs and that was early feedback or something. I don't know. So okay,
Yeah,
what
we don't know.
would a pass be for feedback?
The feedback was addressed, but the changes have had limited success.
I think it's kind of that.
Because the poor would be feedback was not addressed.
Yeah,
so
they've addressed the feedback. They've tried to add something in to create some pacing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in the way they intended because they've set the time too high, but it does sort of have a useful purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're at a pass level. Final thoughts on this one?
This feels very like they missed a lot of small things that could have just the story engine basically, as you said, literally just have something that checks how long you use something like the crown, and then just a variable and then a different ending, and that would be
the world's simplest story engine, but it would have been something.
But yeah,
absolutely. I think to get the other one, having to get story to game, that would have been a bit trickier because they'd have had to have had some
Yeah,
narrative
that
and some decision mechanism within the level. Um,
yeah,
but they still could have done that, right? So yeah, I'm trying to think how you would have done it. Kind of there is no, the problem is there is no story here. So I think you'd have had to have introduced a story where you were kind of making your way through the goblins, and then you realised you were kind of running up against the tornadoes. But has to be some kind of narrative decision. Probably something based
yeah,
around the cloak and the crown.
yeah.
So
Maybe
uh,
you met an NPC or something, and they
yeah,
wanted your cloak or
yes.
something.
So
Yeah,
about the only thing you could do is give it away, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so you have a choice. You meet the NPC, and then if you give it to them, and then you don't have it as an option for the last bit of the game, and then it becomes a narrative decision because you're trying to help somebody, but it has a game consequence because then that's not available to you in the last bit, right?
Yeah,
But that's okay because it's the tornado bit, and you can get away with not having it, but it just makes it a bit harder. That would probably have been
exactly.
the
Yeah,
thing to do, and then you'd have had been able to demonstrate both story to game and game to story. I think kind of the other thing you might wanted to have done is to have some kind of climax to the game. So when you get to this final bit, to have something where and you could have had a different climax depending on whether or not you'd use the crown, right? So that would have been another nice way of kind of integrating that decision into the story again.
yeah,
Um, yeah, needed a little bit of work, I think, to bring that story engine in there, just as a light touch, but it would have made a big difference to what we were looking for.
yeah.
Okay, I think that's our final game, so we will see you again in
But
our next video.